Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, it's me Gamerturk, and this is your weekly War of Underworld Q&A where you ask the questions and I answer them. Now, before we begin, this is gonna be a short Q&A session because next week the genius university that I have has scheduled 4 different exams to next week, both 2 midterms, 2 final exams. I am terribly under time pressure, so yeah, this is gonna be a short one. But then again, we got normal questions where you can watch without spoilers, and that means if you have watched Alicization War of Underworld episode 8, you are safe to watch these questions. Then we got opinion questions, which are once again spoiler free, so up until episode 8 you are safe to watch them, but they are gonna be not exactly factual, they are more opinionated, either asking for my personal opinion or simply things that I deduced from certain information around the world building, etc. So not exact stuff, but more, yeah. And then we got the spoiler questions, which I'm not even sure if we have today. I think I don't, but yeah, I am gonna give you a spoiler warning if we have any spoiler questions. So without further ado, let's begin with the first question. I understand the premise of Underworld and the story thus far, but what exactly about Alice makes her specifically special to the world outside? I understand that the advanced AI, but couldn't any AI within the world, such as the other Integrity Knights, be used the same way? No. And glad you asked, that's a question I receive fairly often, despite the fact that I am pretty sure I answered this before. But yeah, let's revisit that question because it's been a long time. So first off, every single creature in Underworld is very obedient. They don't break the rules, they try to circumvent the rules, but Rath is searching for a unit that can actually break the rules based on morality or ethics, etc. And to be very specific, they are not aware of the seal of the right eye, so they don't know what's causing them to be so obedient either. They're just trying to find someone who willingly breaks the rules. Now, going back to that willingly breaking the rules statement, when they discovered Alice for the first time, it was not really something they were looking for, but the entire twist and turn of events were based on that Alice accidentally breaking the taboo index, not willingly, accidentally breaking the taboo index. So in that sense, Alice at the beginning was not something special as they hoped she would be. Now this information goes over to Gabriel Miller. Gabrielle specifically wants Alice because it reminds her of Alicia, etc. That's an entirely different topic, but that guy is an idiot anyways. But yeah, afterwards Yuuki actually becomes the person that they are really specifically looking for, because he is the one to break the rules willingly for the first time in the entire Underworld history. But he kinda dies within like 3 minutes maybe real world time, so yeah, that they don't get to discover Yu-Gi-Oh fast enough, especially because at that point they were being raided and they had other priorities, etc. But luckily Alice also breaks the taboo index, this time willingly, and thus, after Yu-Gi-Oh's death of course, becomes the only person in the entire Underworld to be able to break the rules on her own volition. That's what makes Alice so special, unlike the other Integrity Knights or other people who are constantly circumventing the rules. But then again, as you have seen back in episode 8, when for example Lilpilin was crying for the loss of his entire, well not entire, but his army entirely, the battalion, 4th battalion. If you look at his hand at that point, his right eye is glowing with the seal of the right eye. So yeah, look forward to Lilpilin as well as some other people who have the potential to become as special as Alice is. Next question. Okay, my question isn't related to this episode, but I'm curious about something. Can the divine object that is held by the super accounts like Stacia, Terraria, Solus, Vecta, Lunaria, etc. be used to perform the perfect weapon control as well? Armament full control art is the fan translation version of it for those of you who are confused but trying to read. The thing is, that is not explicitly stated. You see, a divine weapon is every kind of weapon that has a certain memory of the sword attached, which is at a certain point that weapon was something else. With that lore and memory, it becomes something else with special abilities. That's what a divine weapon is. The super accounts, what they have is something more than mere divine objects, let's put it that way. And especially in War of Underworld, with so much shit happening, you won't get to hear anyone chanting much stuff, so things get a little bit vague there, especially when the god power accounts, every single god. I have mentioned this before when I think it was episode 4, Vecta versus Shasta. God accounts do have their inherent special abilities, so certain things do start blurring the lines as to what is exactly what. So yeah, that's... sorry about the vague answer, it's just that it's not very clear. But no, they do not explicitly go for perfect weapon control, etc. Hey, I don't know if this is a spoiler question or an opinion question, but what do you think of the Lunaria Goddess account special ability is? And I have redacted some of that comment to make sure I can answer this in the non-spoiler section. I checked, by the way, we don't have spoiler questions this week. So, for the god accounts, they all have inherent special abilities, as we mentioned in the previous question, as we mentioned in previous explained videos when it came to Vecta, etc. And Lunaria is the goddess of the moon. And goddess of the moon in Underworld lore, it's entirely tied to the dreams of the people. The dreams people see, according to the Human Empire lore, of course. The Dark Territory may have other interpretations, as things are with culture in general. Lunaria is responsible for giving people those dreams when they sleep. If you look back at, what was that, episode 19 or 20 of the Human Empire, when Yuuki was getting synthesized, when he first wakes up in Quinella's chambers, he's asking why Lunaria has given him such a weird dream. On second thought, I don't remember if the anime specifically mentions that sentence, but I know the books do. But yeah, Lunaria's goddess account special ability would be something related to the dreams, you know, directly accessing the floodlight, etc. Those kinds of stuff. Next question: if an Integrity Knight is dead, what happens to him or her weapon? Now that has been quite the common question since L3 died. I have received this question a bunch of times, so I'm just including one here. Once an Integrity Knight dies, they just die, much like any other person or creature in Underworld. It's not something special. They have a light cube inside the light cube cluster. When they die, that light cube just gets wiped and used for a new person, completely erased in that sense. What happens to their weapon? Well, that depends on what specifically happened to the weapon itself. If the weapon is destroyed in battle, well, that weapon is destroyed. If that weapon is not destroyed, well, it's not destroyed and can be used. But a lot of you guys are asking what happened to L3's weapon. I personally do not know. I don't think the novels even mention. I'm gonna assume it has been destroyed, but it may not have been, because in these Q&As I don't have a script, I don't go double check stuff. But don't expect any kind of significance from L3's Frost Scale Whip if it's still lying somewhere. For starters, to use a divine object, you need to have a very specific, not memory, but a very specific resonance with that weapon. That was the same thing with Renly as well. He chose the double-winged blades because it subconsciously was resonating with his own past, with two friends constantly relying on each other, very similar to the two blades. And the weapon chose him back for that same purpose as well. That's what I mean by resonance. So even if L3's whip was lying around, well, you kinda need to find someone that resonates with that weapon, which is not very likely. It's a very rare process. Most Integrity Knights do have divine weapons because Quinella has such a huge armory in the first place, or she specifically creates the weapons for them, etc. So you can't just randomly pick a divine weapon and give it to someone and make it work. It's just not how that works. Hope that answers the question. Next one, and we're into the opinion section because I planned this to be a short one, but my recording already says we're over 10 minutes. Fuck me. If Yuuki Kondo were still alive, would she be stronger than Kirito? Now, I'm sorry, no offense, but I kinda hate these kinds of questions. I receive them a lot, that's why I decided to feature one at the latest. But yeah, when you ask these kinds of questions, it's too vague. Like, what do you mean by stronger exactly? Because everybody is human. Yuuki is human, Kirito is human, the environment, these kinds of matters. It's a giant equation. You can't just say A is better than B, because A is affected by 100 different things, B is affected by 100 different things, they all come together in a single environment, etc. You need to specify these things when you're asking these questions. No, Yuuki Kondo is not stronger than Kirito, and no, Kirito is not stronger than Yuuki Kondo either. There needs to be a very specific set of circumstances, and then it's too much. Like, there are the kinds of videos, I forgot who did them, but I remember for an Avatar series, The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, someone was making those what if scenarios, pitching characters against characters, and he was really being thorough to be able to do this, because otherwise you can't do it. Like, if you're gonna pitch two characters against each other and try to decide who is stronger, you really need to set up a very specific scene for them to actually battle it out, because everything affects the characters and you can't just go make a blanket statement someone is stronger than someone else. That was that was not really an answer, was it? Next question. This is an opinion question actually, from all side characters that die in the SAO series or franchise. Which do you think that you really want to still be alive? Pick only one and give a reason to that answers of yours. Of course, I'm not gonna go into spoiler territory, so we're gonna go with characters that have died prior to episode 8. But I am gonna go with Shasta, because he was one of those people who actually could create a major conflict within the Dark Territory characters, you know. That would be an interesting dynamic to have. Like Gabriel doesn't care about his army there in general, but still another force that would go head to head against DIL in such a case would be really interesting to watch, especially considering the Dark Knights are the most elite forces of the Dark Territory in general, and which of them would follow Shasta, which of them would follow other people per the rules of the Dark Territory, the stronger person you need to actually follow, etc., those kinds of stuff. That would be a really nice dynamic, and I really wish Shasta would stay alive a little longer. But that's all the questions. Again, this was a mini episode. I'm really in time trouble. But anyways, if you watch this far, I should probably say that we are having some Christmas merch. I'm hoping to get them up before I upload this video. We're gonna have Padoru Kirito and Padoru Asuna sweatshirts, leggings, and pillows, if I'm not mistaken. And then another variant of the same things with Padoru Alice and Padoru Yujio. So yeah, it's like cute, ugly sweater stuff. I'm hoping you will enjoy. And patrons and channel members will get discount coupons this time around. I set it up properly as well, so they should be working by the time I get them up. So yeah, look forward to them. If you enjoyed this, you know, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell icon for more. I really need to wrap this up because I need to study, so I'll see you next time. Until then, stay cool.